guys, welcome to the Whimsical Workshop. In this video we are going to be kicking off our Woodcut Blossoms Blog Hop, so let's get started. Yay! Okay, so the Woodcut Blossoms is my very first signature group with Island Batiks. We are so excited to be working with them and having a signature collection. And along with the kickoff for the collection, I wanted to do a blog hop with my fellow designers in the industry. And what we are offering is each of us has one free block pattern on our blog posts. And then some of us have taken them and turned them into patterns that you could purchase to make more things from the block. If you're interested in following along and collecting your free blocks, you can go to my blog, which I will put the link in the comments below, and you can collect all of your free blocks. They're all the same and you can make them into a project of your own. But for our quilt, what we did is we took our free block and we created a pattern called Realm of the Fairies, which I will put here on the screen. Our pattern for our free block, you can do a wall hanging, a runner, or 4 placemats with the pattern. This is a purchased pattern that you can get from the whimsicalworkshop.com. Again, put the links for all of this stuff and the tools I'm going to be showing you below. But so you can take your free block and do whatever you want, or you could purchase a pattern and it'll tell you how to make all 3 of these projects. I wanted to go through the projects with you in person because I literally just finished binding them. First, the quilt is made up of 1 block but 2 colorways. So you can see the star points on this one are dark purple and the star points on this one are the raspberry. So let's look at the projects. First up is the quilt. It's just a little wall hanging. Can't see me. But it is made up of 12 blocks, and then we've added the borders. It is a very, very fun and easy project, and it showcases both the lighter star and the darker star. So that is the wall hanging. The wall hanging measures, hang on a minute. The wall hanging measures 39 by 48, and again, this is made up of 12 blocks, which is very, very fun. So there's that one. Here's the runner in the pattern. This measures 44 by 17. It's made up of 2 block 1s and 2 block 2s, and then we've added the borders on. If you don't have a long table, you could do 2 and 2 and make it a square topper. And I probably will do that with the leftovers from this demo that I'm doing for you, because when I do these demos I end up with a whole bunch of extra blocks, so I may as well turn them into something else fun. So there's the runner, and then the last are the placemats, and these are the 2 placemats, the dark stars and the light stars. We also changed the sashing on these. One has raspberry and one has white. So, and there are the directions show you how to make 4 of them. So those are the projects in the Realm of the Fairies pattern. But I want to show you, we're going to come on down here. These are the 2 blocks, but I'm going to run through the steps on how these blocks are made so that you know what you're getting into before you jump in and buy the pattern. We also have all of the Woodcut Blossoms fabric. We have matching Aurifil thread sets, and we have fabric kits for some of our other patterns, all available on the website. So if you love this fabric and maybe star blocks aren't your thing, I am sure we have something over there for you. Okay, to start the blocks, I do have a few tools that I would recommend that will make the assembly of the blocks a little bit easier, so let's look at those first. First, you're going to use a little pair of scissors to cut all your dog ears off. You're going to need marking tools to mark your flying geese or flip and sew units. I recommend a small strip stick. This is to press your seams open. We do press some of the seams open, but not all of them. And then the way I mark my flying geese and half square triangles, I use a folded corner clipper ruler, which you can see there. And these are available in 2 sizes. This is the XL size and this is the normal size. For this project, we just need the little guy, but I always like to show people it does come in a bigger one. So if you like the way we do this technique and you do bigger blocks, we do have this one available as well. So we're going to set that aside for now, and now let's go through the steps to make these blocks. So we're just going to leave those right there. All right, so first things first, the block is made up of one center square, a flying geese and a flying geese. This is a half square triangle with flip and sew on either side, and there are 4 of them. So a lot of flip and sew in this pattern. So first off, to do the flying geese, you're gonna need your rectangle and your 2 squares. And then what I do to mark these, and if you've seen any of my other videos, this is repetitive, but okay, so let me show you how I mark my flying geese. So in a traditional method, you would draw a line from point to point and sew on that line and then flip your triangle open. And so here it is sewn, and then you would flip it open. When you go and draw the line from point to point, it's not very accurate. And sometimes when you go to flip open your flying geese, it doesn't flip. It doesn't align out here very well. So what I've discovered is if I use this ruler and I lay it on here, this ruler, you can align the top of the square, the side of the square, the bottom of the square, this side of the square, and this diagonal, all with this ruler. So instead of 2 floating points, we've got all these reference points. So now when I draw my line, I know it is exactly where I want it. Now you're going to notice this, and this is not the best color. Okay, so this isn't the best color to show you on camera, so I'm going to show you with these little white squares. So in the pattern you'll use raspberry. For today's example, I want to show you something you can see. So again, you can use the ruler, you can align it with all the points I referenced, you can draw your line. Okay, that is what we're going to do with the ruler. Normal, traditional method is to go from point to point and draw your line. So I want to be able to show you the 2 next to each other. Okay, so this is from point to point. That's the traditional method, and I don't think it's very accurate. This is the way I would mark it, and I did for all of these. Now, instead of sewing on my drawn line, this becomes the 1/4 inch line. You're still going to draw from point to point, but you're going to put your 1/4 inch foot on this line so that when you go to sew it on here, I'm going to mark this and make it super dark. So when you go to sew it, you can see you're still sewing from point to point and you're putting your 1/4 inch foot there. So the other thing I always like to point out to people is if you look at this, there is a small triangle and a big triangle. You want the small triangle to always point towards your outer corner that you're flipping towards. So that then when I sew across from here, or on this one, you can see the smaller triangles there. Now I can flip this open, and that's my first flying goose. So let's pull that aside. So first things first, you'd sew this, and you can flip it open. You can decide, do you want to just cut this piece out in here, or if you want to cut both pieces away and have it flip open. And how I decide that is after I've sewn them, I flip them open, and if they're accurate, I get rid of the bulk back here. The only thing is, whatever way you decide to do it to start with, you need to be consistent with that block throughout. So if I cut only the center out of this, I need to only cut the center out of this and my other flying geese. If I cut both pieces away, I need to repeat that over there. So there's step 1 to get one side of the goose on. Then we're going to go ahead, cut it, press it, and then we're going to sew the next one on. Doing the exact same thing we did there, we're just doing it on the other corner. And then we press that open and we have our flying goose. We are going to make these for this star, and we're going to make these for out here. Then we've got this guy that goes over here, and this guy that goes here. So 4 different colors of flying geese for the 2 blocks. So that is the flying geese units. Easy peasy, right? All right, next up are the half square, the corner units. So first things first is we're going to do half square triangles, and you're going to take the 2, I believe these are 3 7/8. So you have 3 7/8 of each color, and you're going to, again, the traditional method would be to draw a line from corner to corner and sew a 1/4 inch on either side. We're not going to do that. We're going to use our same ruler, same method, and we're going to draw 2 lines. And again, I can align this side, here, here, and here. I'm going to draw 1 line, and then I'll turn it around and I will draw the other line. Then once I have both those lines drawn, I go to the sewing machine and I sew on my drawn line. So here it is on the other side. You can't really see. This side is much better. So there we go. So first you do that. So you sew on each drawn line. Then you cut them apart. Okay. So this would be like this. Whoops, let's do it so you can follow along. So you cut those 2 apart. Then you press them. I press these towards the dark. Then you're going to take your little scissors and you're going to clip off your dog ears. And these are the little weird hairy things right there. Just get rid of those, because what will happen if you don't get rid of them is they can become little bulky spots in your block, and then when you're machine quilting your quilt, you hit a dog ear and your quilting will look off because it's got extra bulk. So you do want to get rid of those. So we've done that. We make our half square triangle. You want this one for this block, and then you're going to make these for this block. Then we need to repeat the flip and sew technique we did here over here. So we're doing a blue square, a light blue square on that side, and then we're going to do another light blue square on the other side. So there we go. And then we're going to cut and press them out. Oops. There we go. Okay, so we do 1, we do 2, and then we press them both out for 3. And this block goes with, or this corner goes with this block, and this corner goes on this block. So once you have all those units sewn, you're ready to assemble your blocks. And I'm going to talk a little bit about pressing as we go through the layout. All right, so first, this is, again, I'm not really sure, I'm not looking at the pattern, which one is block 1 and which one is block 2. When you buy the pattern and you look at it, follow that one, but there are 2 different blocks. That's all you really need to remember. All right, so to sew this block together, there's our flying geese units. There's our center. And then these are the corners that go in. Okay, and that, you would sew these 3 together. And let's just double check how I pressed it. So I sewed these 3 together, and then I pressed that seam open. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So these 3 pressed open, these 3 pressed open, these 3 pressed open. Then when I sewed the rows together, I pressed those open as well. And so we did the same thing to make the second block. So we've got those like that. And then we've got these for the second block. No matter how big your cutting table is, there's never enough space. And then this one has a dark center. Oh, you know what? I have that mixed up. This one has the light center. This one has the dark center. That's why you always want to look at your picture multiple times before sewing, so you don't do what I just did. And then these guys go in like this. All right, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna sew this row together, and then I'm gonna show you how to use the pressing stick. Okay, so I have sewn these together, and so to use the pressing stick, you would take the strip stick. Not ready. All right, so my iron is obviously not plugged in, but to use the pressing stick, you would lay it right side down on the stick. I like to pinch the back of the seam, and I also like to just get the beginning started. So once I get it started, then I take the nose of my iron and I just iron the piece, and the gravity of the stick, even without heat, will let it just press open for you. And that will give you much less bulk on this side. And then once I've done the back with the stick, I do open the front and I make sure it's all flat and I press it again. That is why I would recommend pressing these seams open, is because there are a lot of little intersections that, especially here, there's like 2, 3, 4, they're all competing with each other, and all your points are lining up. And to help everything look nicer and lay flatter, I recommend you press your seams open. All right, so that wraps up how to make our Realm of the Fairies block for our Woodcut Blossoms Blog Hop. Make sure you check out the Blog Hop for all the details and links to each of the other blogs on the Blog Hop. Collect your blocks. The Woodcut Blossoms collection, we have a limited amount in the studio. It is available for sale at thewhimsicalworkshop.com, which is also where you could get the pattern and the tools you saw me use in the video. So let me know what you think of my first collection with Island Batiks. Let me know if you are going to use our blog, and I want to thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. We'll talk to you next time.